Peugeot produces some pretty decent cars these days. There's the competent 308 hatchback, the clever 3008 crossover vehicle, the sexy 207cc, and of course the 107 frugal urban runabout. There's even a long history of hot hatches. But a true sports car? Well, here's a car that fits the bill. It's called the Peugeot RCZ. The RCZ is different to any other Peugeot you may have encountered. Even the designation lacks the usual numeric component, and while Peugeot says there's no specific meaning behind the RCZ badge, it does underline the two-door's standalone status. Most of all though, the RCZ seeks to prove that Peugeots aren't just visually appealing, they can be enthralling in dynamic terms as well. Still, it's hard not to be drawn to this car purely because of its visual appeal. It has the showstopper presence of a concept car, specifically because of its unusual roof with its so-called double bubble design. The broad metallic arch accentuates the rounded roofline, which some might feel has a likeness to the original Audi TT, but in reality the RCZ's shape is thoroughly, delightfully original and unmistakably Peugeot. The double bubble roof is a unique feature that pays visual homage to the 908 Le Mans race car. It sets this RCZ apart from anything else out there. But fortunately, there's more to this coupe than just a special roof. It has the distinctive persona of a sports car. Yes, of course it's handsome, but there's an inherent aggression in the way it hunkers down low on the tar with the wide track, short overhangs and crouching stance reminiscent of an athlete about to leap out of the starting blocks. The dynamic design extends to the details, which all underscore the RCZ's theme of aerodynamic purity and cleanly sculpted shapes. If you're familiar with current Peugeot models like the 308 and the 308cc, you'll recognize the layout and many of the features inside the RCZ's cabin. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it gives you a solidly engineered and well-appointed interior with decent seats and good ergonomics. But you can ignore that rear bench seat, unless your name is Quasimodo, of course. So, rear headroom, and legroom for that matter, is at a premium, but that's the only real negative here. Peugeot's current mainstream models have already upped the ante in terms of interior quality, and the RCZ continues that trend. There's an air of prestige about this interior, extending from the luxurious leather upholstery and the tangible class of the finishes to the alloy detailing and the precisely calibrated switchgear. And if you expected the RCZ sports coupe status to demand a Spartan interior, think again. The French two-door has every conceivable convenience, including a truly practical boot, albeit minus a spare wheel. The rear wing extends automatically at speed, but can be operated manually too. If you got to drive the Peugeot RCZ without asking about engine size, you'd never believe that it's only a 1600cc power unit under the bonnet. It delivers 147 kilowatt, 275 newton meters, and that's thanks to high pressure turbocharging and variable valve timing. The result? A car that always feels willing and zesty. In fact, it's on the move that the RCZ really comes into its own, eschewing its designer appeal for something a lot more meaningful and a lot more rewarding. Behind the wheel, there's nothing soft or superficial about the RCZ's dynamics. It feels born to perform, and not just in straight-line speed terms. Instead, it's the way this Peugeot communicates with the driver that confirms its sports coupe status. The RCZ may be a front-wheel drive coupe based on the 308 platform, but it has a planted, neutral stance that reminds you more of a mid-engined exotic. You can carry a lot of speed into the corners, and even the electric power steering gives an amazing amount of feedback. This is a really fun car to drive. It's the kind of vehicle that encourages you to explore its capabilities and continues to surprise. The chassis feels taut and composed, while the ride is almost too harsh at times. Gear shifts are short, fast and positive, and the engine revs with a lusty ease that encourages full use of the rev band. On the move, the RCZ always feels rapid, if not absolutely lightning fast. 0 to 100 times 7.5 seconds, top speed 237 kilometers an hour, which is certainly sporty. But what I really like about the car is the way it responds to throttle input. There's absolutely no lag, and in-gear acceleration is tremendous. Combine all of these dynamic traits, a responsive chassis, lots of zip, fantastic turning, surprising grip and a singular lack of understeer, and you have a car that is even more than the sum of its parts. It's very hard not to drive the RCZ with anything but huge enthusiasm, and because the package is so convincing, the coupe always over-delivers on expectations. Don't make the mistake of writing off the RCZ as just another lifestyle coupe with a lot more show than go. In chassis and suspension terms, this is a very credible sports car and it has the steering to match. Add that muscular engine into the mix and you have a car that'll put a smile on the face of even the most jaded motoring enthusiast. The on-paper statistics don't do the Peugeot RCZ full justice, but do provide a clue to what it's truly capable of. Fact is, the car always feels better and faster than expected. Add the arresting styling, great quality and plenty of extras, and the price seems reasonable indeed. But the rear accommodation is too cramped to be useful.